Y'all have no idea what just happened here. Behind the scenes, everybody. I think we're getting our crazies out. What's the human equivalent of when dogs have the zoomies? I think that's what just happened to Tom.
That's what I have.
Well, I think it's because we're so excited to be back, y'all.
No, I do have the zoomies. Just got home from work, listened to Electric Callboy the entire way home.
Oh, that explains it. If y'all aren't privy, do yourselves a favor and Google Electric Callboy. They're really something that you would want to listen to if you need motivation to keep living, like when you're on the 20th mile of a marathon. Like, that's what their music is meant for.
If you like techno, EDM, dance music,
and getting hype.
And metal.
And metal. Yes,
and metal.
Actually, that is important.
Probably, I should have started with that. Majority metal. But, highly recommend.
But anyway,
yes.
Can you tell we're excited to be back, y'all? We missed you guys. Whenever we go 1 week without a Dork Discourse, it feels like it's been an eternity. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. We missed your faces. I missed you guys. Missed your guys' usernames. I wish I could see your guys' faces one day. One day maybe, but hello there, everybody. Shout out to everybody pre-gaming in the chat. We had Alice, Charlie, Stanley, Sean. Josh is here. Let's go. Zach, what's up? Elwood Blues. I think I saw Lord Fowl. Yes, Lord Foul's here. Epic Dude, Sal. Let's get it, Stanley.
Yeah, gang's all here.
The gang, Julian. Let's get it, team. Let's get after it. Happy Tuesday. Happy Dork Discourse Tuesday, everybody. Happy week 4 of the Acolyte. And happy, actually, Tom, I guess I was so in Acolyte mode today. I forgot. Also, House of the Dragon.
Yep.
Tom got home from work, was like, what? We're not talking about House of the Dragon? So perhaps we can talk about that because it's happy HBO Sundays are back, baby.
Oh. Well, I think we can spend the first 5 or so minutes talking about it.
All right, we can do it quick.
So I saw it on Sunday. You saw it today.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for the record also, we have not exchanged thoughts on either Acolyte or House of the Dragon, so we are both getting each other's fresh thoughts.
That's true. Yes, Miss Cat here has been traveling away.
Yes, so. I don't want to give everything away. Listen, I'm still Team Rhaenyra all the way through and through. But I'm scared for what's to come after the finale of that episode. It was everything that I wanted, coming off of, you know, the absolute just bombshell of season 1 finale. This is exactly what I wanted, but I'm a little bit scared. I think people's characters are going to take a different turn this season. Dare I say I think I'm most excited to see where Aegon's character goes, and I previously didn't care for him at all because he's been so laissez-faire and just never lived up to the expectation of he would have to ascend the throne one day, so he kind of just skated by and was getting plastered at age like 12, so I'm very I can't believe I'm saying this because y'all know I hate the Greens, but I'm most excited to see where he goes right now after what has ensued.
Very, very interesting.
Thoughts?
Poor baby.
Yeah.
Poor little toddler.
Couldn't even talk. It's so rough. How am I supposed to defend? I say I'm still Team Rhaenyra because she did not sign off on that.
Nope.
Those were not her orders. That did not come from her mouth. And if she gets hold of Daemon and finds out what this was, all right.
So this whole story is just on misunderstanding after misunderstanding.
Yes, it's so hard.
Here's yet another one where there's a huge misunderstanding.
All right. Sound off in the chat, y'all. We don't have to linger on this for too long because I really want to talk about Acolyte. That's what I feel like I have the most thoughts about.
Yeah.
But if you're Daemon Targaryen, he's sized up Aemond before. Like, everybody knows right now Aemond is their biggest asset as the war breaks out in terms of combat and optics with, Vhagar. Like, he knows he's a formidable foe. Daemon's not stupid. Why would you go? He had to have known this could have gone horribly. I'm sorry, but if you are tasked with assassinating Aemond Targaryen, why would you get just 2 random Joes off the street who are easily bribed to go and do the job?
They went at night to kill him in his sleep.
It doesn't matter. This is Aemond Targaryen. You're talking. All I'm saying is
he's one-eyed. He's handicapped.
That doesn't. The whole episode they were saying he's our biggest asset to Team Green right now. Like, he's a huge. Dude trains like crazy. Dude got whatever water was in Westeros.
Come at him on his left side and you're good.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess they could have.
Right side, whatever side is blind.
That's all I'm saying. I started off on this show so Team Daemon, But now I question this man because he's not stupid. He had to have known. I'm sure, would have settled for anyone. He just wants to stir the pot and draw blood to show that they're not weak. Because I think he sees Rhaenyra as weak because she, God forbid, was taking a hot second to
Well,
grieve.
it's not his fault that they killed a toddler and not the actual
All
person.
I'm saying is...
They went to look for him but couldn't find him, so then they decided, well, a son for a son.
But they even asked,
one's a son.
They ask, what's our backup plan in case we can't secure Aemond? Who do you want us to get? Who's plan B? And they kind of they linger on Daemon for a hot second, but then camera cuts away.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they asked him, and what if we can't get the prince? So I think he totally knew. He just wants anyone. Whether or not they were successful in assassinating Aemond or not, he would have been happy with just anybody, I think. He just wants to draw next blood. That's my thoughts. I'm watching Daemon. He could be the one who sabotages everything here for Rhaenyra. That's why when people are calling me out saying, how could you be Team Rhaenyra? She didn't sign off on that. No. And I think that's what's interesting about the show. It's not, they take liberties and show truths that aren't necessarily in the books, which I am binging like crazy, by the way. This freaking page turner, y'all. I'm actually not.
You're reading it?
Yeah. What do you think I did on the plane for 5 hours? Oh. This is unlike anything I have ever freaking read. It's so freaking good, and I didn't think I was going to be like a fan of the writing style because it is basically just like you're reading a history textbook. And to be fair, whenever I would read those in high school, my brain was just shut off, like, because you think
history
it's so.
Books are great.
Yeah, but I need some dialogue. I need some, but this betrays everything I thought that I needed from a book because I'm just going. Maybe it's also because the Targaryens are great and it's just fun to read about more of them in their prime, you know. But so that's what I think is interesting to see. It'll prove who's actually really. Nobody's in the right or wrong, but I get so much flack for saying I'm Team Black when it's like this show may prove, you know, who's really committing worse acts of violence. Yeah.
Well, not just acts of violence. Acts of
murder.
That counts as violence. Acts of mischiefness.
Anyway.
Alicent is no clean slate either. At the moment.
We don't need to get into
literally opening shot of her.
We don't need to get
after Rhaenyra's old boy toy.
We don't need to get into that. Everyone, it's no secret that she had feelings for him. I think Aemond says it best. Alicent is blaming me for something she started. He just is perfect for taking the blame. What's up? My mom's here.
Totally is.
He said it perfectly. And the whole time I've been kind of dogging on him too. Like, you started this. You were the catalyst. But he said it perfectly. He was like, I was just acting in name of what I had to do after my mom did everything to usurp the throne. So yeah, no, he said it perfectly. Yeah. She's no clean slate.
She's Miss Goody Two Shoes, honorable, decent person the whole first season, and then.
All right, we don't need to talk about.
It's not just that, but I'm just saying.
But that's what
they want to emphasize that.
Don't have to.
They want to emphasize that was the opening shot.
Okay, all right. We don't. I will be cutting that out of my reaction, as you all know. Bosco scenario, yes, Team Black. No way, Mummy Barbs. I know it's been a hot minute since Mummy Barbs has been in the chat. She's chilling. But yes, those are.
See, Dave knows. Alicent was getting her groove on. She was getting her groove
Jesus. All right. We're going to bypass that now and finally segue into the true meat of tonight's discussion, which is the Acolyte. Y'all, it was so hard for me to stay offline this week because I have such terrible muscle memory when I just shuffle through my apps to go on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. So there were many a scare that I almost would have spoiled something, but thank goodness I didn't. I was only just now able to watch the episode today. My reaction to episode 3 will probably go up this evening, and I'll try to speed edit for episode 4 to get that up shortly after, maybe tonight. The night is young, luckily, thank goodness it comes out at 6 p.m. here for us. So I don't have to like crank into the wee hours of the morning as I used to do sometimes and be editing at 3 a.m. to try to get my reactions up in a timely fashion. But What are your thoughts? We're both
Listen,
still.
I've been processing this for a week. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts? Because you watched it literally 10 hours ago. So, what are your thoughts? Because you probably haven't been ingesting the internet over the last
I
week.
did a quick speed run
So
of the internet.
what are you feeling?
I can see the reasons. All I knew is that the internet seemingly erupted and the fandom imploded on itself after this episode. This was a controversial one, I think was in the air going into this episode, so that's what I've been ruminating on all week. And I can honestly say I have no idea what people are upset about. Other than the fact that, there were 2 men present in the entirety of the episode. 3 if you're including Kelnaka, but he's not human, so does that even count? Like,
Okay. So, I think I can tell you exactly
okay.
the 2 things that
I know what
people are upset
okay. The kind of immaculate conception of Osha and May, similar circumstances of there is no father, is this contending with the circumstances of Anakin and Shmi's impregnation, and was he a manifestation of the Force, Palpatine impregnating her? Yeah, I could see why that may have people fired up, but I feel like that's only a reaction if you have a narrow view of the possibilities of Star Wars. Who's to say that Mother Anastasia didn't work magic? We saw her. She's able to anatomically take control when she, subdued Mr. Torben there with his mind. Who's to say? We don't know what's possible in Star Wars. It's all fantastical. It's all fake. They're not confined to the science of our real world. And I'll let you talk. The only reason I think it has nothing to do with or is trying to mimic Anakin and Shmi, the same scenario, lack of a father. Mother Coral throws it in, Mother Anastasia's face and says, what do you think the Jedi would do if they found out about how you created them? As if to imply, like, that they're an abomination, or that they would be instead seen as a threat, not welcomed as, like, they're the chosen one. There was no what? Like, that is where I'm coming from. You both rock. You rock.
No.
010. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, so I don't think it's really anything other than the fact that Anakin should be the only one conceived by the Force, and that's why these other people we don't know about can conceive with the Force.
But there was no confirmation of that. They never said
that's what they were
it's
implying.
vague.
That's totally what they're implying. I think that's exactly what they're implying, and I think it's intentional. And I'm saying what the common take is.
Yeah.
But my opinion is that it is incredible, and I have a full theory on where the story's going to go, and it is awesome. And I loved the episode too. So I'm with you. At first, I watched it and I was like, "Wow, that was great." I have so many questions. It's incredible. It continues the storyline.
It plants so many seeds.
And then seeing all this outrage, I was like puzzled. I was like, I don't really understand it, other than the blanket statement of lesbians conceiving with the Force, all women, no men, like stuff like that. Like if you're just watching it, which has been the banter leading up to the start of the show.
I've been reading the member chats. Whoops, sorry.
But like in the context of the lore, I was very intrigued. The other big complaint is that the whole ceremony, power of one, power of two, power of many,
the
singing,
coolest
chanting,
part of the episode.
Afterwards, like the level of the amount of people saying like it was so cringe and impossible to watch. I was taken aback. I was taken back by that too.
Are you kidding?
It didn't. No, I'm saying, but the feedback.
No, I'm saying people didn't like that actually, because you've been online reading. I've not seen really what people online
there
are
are memes all over the place. People making fun of that scene.
That gave me chills
all over the place.
I thought call me cringe then, because I literally was like, this is the coolest freaking thing. I'm stunned.
In watching it, it did not take me out of it at all.
No.
Not even in the slightest.
It was hype.
So
what the frick?
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick little pause here to thank our members. So sorry guys, I've been bypassing your chats. Charlie sent a little bit ago, member for 33 freaking months. Oh my god. 2 years, 9 months, 4 days. You always have the exact counter there, Charlie. New milestone. Cat and Tom, thanks for everything. Still got you guys covered for upcoming vids. Also, your B-Day box is sending out next month. Oh my goodness, Charlie. And yes, shout out to Charlie, who's been an absolute legend. Charlie, Sean, all of our mods here who have been fabulous in, as you guys can imagine, monitoring our comment sections and keeping them a safe space. They've had to do extra work, unfortunately, with this show, but we appreciate them for all of it. And to Julian, member for 29 months. You guys are clocking numbers up in here, both on the master level. Hi, Kat. Hi, Tom. First of all, love the picture print. Oh my god, yes! Julian, I'm so glad it arrived.
Glad you got it. Awesome.
I'm sorry to say this, but the Star Wars Acolyte ruined it by saying about the Force is not the Force and that Anakin wasn't the chosen one to bring balance.
Yeah, that's another one. They're calling it the thread and not the Force. And
yes.
Then, yes, saying that basically, the chosen one, Anakin being the chosen one, implies that
they think this
he
has
was the
voided all of
only
that?
being conceived and created out of the Force. So yeah, I think the biggest complaint going around right now and critique is that, okay, now you have these witches who can conceive life out of the Force, when this was Plagueis's trade, and Anakin was the only known being conceived by the Force, which is why he was so powerful and why he was the chosen one, why he had more midichlorians than Yoda, all this stuff. So the general statement is that it's an undermining of Anakin paired with the Ascension ceremony was incredibly cringe. Those are the two big things.
God forbid women have a little bit of fun in Star Wars.
But again, when I was watching it, after the episode, I was like, I need to know what happens. I wasn't taken out at all. And the theory that I would like to share of where this thing goes is totally dependent on everything that happened actually happening. So I'm still all on board. It sounds like you're still all on board.
Yeah, because
you enjoyed the
admittedly,
episode.
Yes, my first initial thoughts upon watching were, okay, I could see how some people might interpret this as voiding, Anakin and that immaculate conception and being a manifestation of the Force and conceived with no father. I can understand. Sorry, we're both starving, so if you hear your stomach growling,
you're ratting me out.
The mic pick it up. The mic picks it up. Somebody asked earlier, what mic are we using? It's a Rode and it picks up everything. So, I see that. I think that's fair, but there's no confirmation. I think Mother Coral would have suggested the Jedi would immediately scoop them up and take them if they learned about their conception. If they really were the chosen one and this was a contention with Anakin's claim to that, can you tell I'm watching this and House of the Dragon? I'm talking claims. Usurpers. Your claim to the chosen one title.
Usurpers, yeah.
They've usurped Anakin as the chosen one. Oh my god.
Realm. The Jedi need to take May and Osha to secure the realm.
But that's why she's suggesting the opposite, that the Jedi would instead perceive this as some sort of threat or some wild abomination.
I don't think it's like the Jedi would treat them actually as the chosen ones, but just the idea that, now there's these other random people we've never met before that have been brought to life through the Force.
But as it just existing in canon now, that undermines Anakin's importance. I don't think it's really that, the Jedi are going to actually think that these are the chosen one and then not Anakin. I don't think it's to that level. But just the idea. Leslie Headland, the creator here, is a huge fan in and of her, she is not only the creator, but she's a fan. She has made that very, very clear. I don't think any true fan of Star Wars would risk contending with that.
Don't use that word of true fan of Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Because that is just a trigger word to ignite anyone.
Whoops.
If someone's watching right now and they didn't like it, And
No,
you
I'm saying,
true fan. You're not a
I'm
true
not saying
fan.
you're not a
That's
true.
like,
That's not what I'm saying.
that's
I'm not saying you're not a true fan. I'm saying someone who's a fan and is creating Star Wars. We don't have the full story. That was just a little exchange. Nothing was set in stone. Nothing was concrete. She didn't flat out say, "I manifested them with the Force."
Oh, you're saying Leslie. You're talking
Yes,
about Leslie.
Leslie. I'm saying anyone who's creating Star Wars, and if they are a true fan, speaking about Leslie, not how anyone interpreted the episode, I think she is well aware of how that would be received and wouldn't necessarily risk that. Hence why this is only episode 3. We still have 5 to go, and we got one sentence worth of dialogue exchange kind of hinting at that.
Yep.
That's why I didn't interpret it as set in stone. Oh my god, they're exactly the same as Anakin. Like, especially since she alludes to their magic, their sorcery. They've been exiled. People see them as abominations. They're not welcome in the rest of the world. Who's to say she didn't utilize some weird, wild magic that we don't know of to create the twins? Member for 24 months, Jerry. Thank you so much for being here. 24 months. I mean, happy 2 years. Holy frick! You guys are clocking major milestones here. Oh my god!
We need to get a new member icon because I think
I know. Wait,
I think
we're running out.
Like 2 years is the last one. But anyway, everything you just said is very crucial to
Your
the theory I have
okay.
of where this thing is going to go.
Let's hear
and it's
it.
set up masterfully up to these first 3 episodes. So here's what we know after episode 3. We know that May did start a fire. We also know that all of the witches are dead.
Just spontaneously died.
Except for, a lot of people pointed out that the Zabrak looking mother who birthed them,
Wait, she wasn't there?
was not clearly in the pile of bodies.
Oh, I didn't have time to really look.
That's another key fact. We also know that when it pans out of the aftermath, they show us that there's the little fire at the top, but then the whole base is on fire too. And May's little lamp fire.
How could that have done that?
Yeah, exactly. So we know, those are what we know. We also know that Soul thinks that May's fire killed them. We also know that May thinks that the Jedi killed them.
Yeah.
And we also know that May, or that Osha thinks that May killed them. So like Osha and Soul are in the same mindset that May's fire killed everyone.
And ask your opinion.
What?
Listen, I'm Soul Ride or Die. There's no way that the Jedi didn't tamper or have something to do with that centrifuge. Unless it was maybe just a fluke.
Centrifuge?
The generator that was malfunctioning, that was then going crazy after all of the witches spontaneously just dropped dead. It's equivalent to like what happens in War of the Worlds. Every human, there's no sign of struggle. There was no sign of struggle or conflict necessary. So how did they all just...
I'm going to tell you how they all died.
Okay,
and it's not the Jedi.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was that.
But that's what they're setting up. May thinks the Jedi did it. I think we know that Torben thinks that he's responsible because he put himself in the trance and then killed himself.
Why would he have offed himself?
So he thinks he's responsible. May thinks the Jedi are responsible. Osha and Soul think that May is responsible. But here's what's going to happen. None of those people are responsible. The Sith are responsible.
Huh?
We know that the Jedi have been scouting this location, keeping tabs on the witches. I think where this is headed is that the masked person who is May's master was also scouting them and waiting for the opportunity to take the children for the Sith, just like the Jedi are waiting for the opportunity to take the children for the Jedi. So what we haven't seen yet is, we know May survives. Who's going to scoop up May in the aftermath totally by chance and say, yeah, oh my god, the Jedi just totally slaughtered her family, join me and we can take revenge. How the Sith get in that scenario with knowing what's going on, I think, because we don't see the other mother in the part of the bodies, that she is either the masked Sith person herself, or she was the mole in the witches that ultimately fed them the information they needed to strike, slaughter all of them at the opportune time, to then have it framed on the Jedi and split the sisters apart, to give the Sith their new apprentice. But also, if she is the mole, funneling the knowledge back to the Sith of, oh my god, these witches, this mother witch knows how to literally bring life, force sensitive being life, through just using the force. So I think ultimately where we're going is that the Sith will learn of the idea of this ability through the witches, literally slaughter all of them, wipe them out of existence, take that power for themselves, use May as a weapon to kill the Jedi. But then the reality is they lied to her the whole time because they killed the Jedi. And I think ultimately May is going to realize that the Jedi didn't do it, that it was her Sith master that did it. And then Osha and May are going to be reunited. And then at that point, it will be the true Jedi versus the Sith. But at this point, the Sith know about the power to create life, which is ultimately how it gets back to Plagueis. And so Plagueis learns how to create life from the Force at the cost of literally lying through their teeth to turn May against the Jedi and against Osha and slaughtering all of the witches.
As someone who just watched the episode today, my brain's a little bit blasted.
They're setting it up. They're putting the Jedi and May and Osha all against each other. Everyone thinks each other did it. Who's the one person that could be pulling the string? The Sith. Orchestrate this whole disaster. They say, oh, look at that really cool power. We want it. How do we steal that power without anyone knowing that, one, we're alive, and also that we have that power? Oh, by literally slaughtering all of them, but then slaughtering all of them, but then the one person who knows about the power, keep them alive. And then take the result of that power to study for themselves, which would be May and the Zabrak mother, who we arguably do not see in the pile of witch bodies at the end of the episode. And to explain how, with one little fire, presumably destroys the entire thing. But to your point about the generator, yeah, I think that the Jedi did do something to try and rescue them. But like Torben, if he says, oh, we messed with the generator, and then they think the whole thing explodes, then they do think it was their responsibility. Soul might not know that, because maybe it was just some of the Jedi who knew about that plan. But the reality is, yeah, the Jedi tried to do something. It had a little impact. May light the fire. It had a little impact. But then the Sith are in there capitalizing with the Zabrak mother, saying, okay, this is a prime opportunity to literally kill all of them and take none of the blame. And we learn how to conceive with the Force.
Here's the only thing that adds up. Like, that would be plausible entirely. That's why I just want to highlight, I love Donald Jumper's comment here. You're giving me hope. I'm a 47-year fan of Star Wars. I haven't seen anything in this show that ruins anything. So far, it's great. Whodunit. The show just adds more and enhances the Star Wars universe. Agreed. Yep. Amen.
Well said, Donald.
Susan agrees. Susan the goat. Let's go. Yeah, no, I you guys give me hope. I low-key have been a little bit scared to be making Acolyte content, like was a little scared to go live tonight, like out of fear, because there's been so many people who clearly aren't part of our community here on this channel who have just sought out, you know, my videos to, you know, accuse me and Tom of being shills, you know, accuse us of being paid, you know, the same kind of rhetoric to say that we actually like this show. And hence why I mentioned, you know, the defense, the mods have had to be, you know, on defense more than ever lately. It honestly is akin to when it was Rings of Power and it was just honestly 90% hate and that 10% of actually really redeeming comments like the ones you guys are sharing. Which is to say, if you guys genuinely don't like the show, I don't want to have to keep repeating this, but it has to be said. If you genuinely don't like it for valid reasons, that is totally fair, and you're welcome to voice that here. You know,
Which some people have.
Some people have,
commented saying that's not their thing. They don't understand.
which is perfectly
Julian's
fair.
comment saying that, you know, basically echoing kind of the common complaints is that they have a sense of feeling that Anakin is undermined.
Which is totally fair and valid.
Which I think, I mean, there's an argument if you interpreted it that way. It's an argument to be had because up until this point, Anakin is the only being in the universe that is fatherless, clearly, blatantly fatherless, and brought to life through the Force. So if now we have these other people, and one that happens way before Anakin is even conceived by the Force, then you know it makes sense that could be a thought that people would have. But I know for the two of us, it didn't go to that level at all. And with the theory that we were just talking about, in my mind, it makes perfect sense, and it actually enhances the Sith. Not so much Anakin. I haven't really thought about Anakin at all, but the actual Sith and how they operate and how they're taking power for themselves. And I mean, even Mother Anastasia says it's about power and who's allowed to use it. So if the Sith come in here, the Jedi think it's the witches think it's the Jedi, and the Sith come in and kill all of them and set them against each other. And what the Sith gain is an apprentice and who's filled with rage and revenge, and they learn how to conceive from the Force. Like, that just speaks to the maniacal nature and power-thirsty, savage nature of the Sith, which is all I've been thinking about since the episode. And I'm like, I really hope that this is where they're going, because if this show ends with like the reveal that the Sith have just been behind everything the whole time, slaughtering the witches, turning May and Osha against each other, turning literally the Jedi against each other, and I mean, it's just so intriguing and enticing.
Yeah.
So, and if it is directly tied back to Plagueis, like literally this matched person is literally directly involved with Plagueis, which in the pre-call it says 100 years. So if it's 100 years, I think Plagueis could maybe potentially come into play here. Maybe not.
Yeah. Josh, member for 33 months. Let's go.
Josh.
Hi, Phantom. Overall, I'm enjoying The Acolyte. I think it's a good show, and I'm wondering where it's going to go. If you like the show, great. If you don't like it, then stop watching and move on. That's very fair, and I wish that half of the fan base here would listen to you. I want to only... Here's my retorts to that. Because
you don't like it?
No, I think it's valid. And I would prefer that to be the case, because this whole episode I had the heebie-jeebies about the Jedi. I was questioning the entire time, why does this feel so sinister? You know, coming from this approach, you know, framing... They're the trespassers here. It's kind of very... The circumstances of their presence there, I feel like was just painted in a new way, and I've never felt this much ick about the Jedi. And maybe perhaps that's why I'm leaning towards my first assumption is they had something to do with these suspicious circumstances. The entire coven did not fall victim to that fire. And yes, we're both on the same page.
Yeah, they fell
this
victim to
entire fortress.
Forced death.
This entire fortress, if it's really as intense as it looks, would not have just gone down from just May lighting up a page of a notebook. There's no freaking way that whole place would have gone up in flames from just that. And if that is the case, if that's truly a fact, then they needed to find some better materials. That fortress was no fortress at all.
Literally, it was like the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
So it looks pretty sturdy.
There's my thoughts there. But here's the things I keep grappling with. It was evident Sol ran through the same room as Osha when they made their escape. He could see it too. He saw all the bodies. He saw that they didn't die from they didn't fall victim to the blaze. He's not stupid, and he was instructing her, don't look, don't turn around, we have to keep going. Hey, here. Osha, from my understanding, suffered no head injuries. There was no head trauma. She had no blunt force trauma she made it out unscathed. Now, unless we missed it and she kind of whacks her head as she is falling there before Sol saves her, I didn't see any sign of trauma that would have caused her to have such amnesia for them to conveniently be able to say everyone died in the fire. She asks what happened. She was there.
She's also like 8.
But yeah, okay, yes, you could say that she suffered severe trauma and maybe blacked out, or the inhalation of the fumes, that stuff I think can make you noxious and mess with you. All I'm saying is she made it out pretty unscathed with Sol. Wasn't in there for too long. But then wakes up. She saw her mother's body. She saw all their bodies. And Sol has to instruct her, look away, keep going. To your credit, yeah. I guess if you're a young child, your mind can only comprehend so much trauma. She could have blacked out, but she had, no memory. She asks, where's my mom? What happened to everybody? But she saw it. And had seemingly no head trauma, no head injury.
Yeah.
I can't stop repressed memories, perhaps Stanley's, but it was so shortly after. She was sedated, as we saw, and is kind of coming out of it. Is it bad to question? Could the Jedi have given her something to repress, to actually, to your point, Stanley's, to actually repress her short-term memory, to cause some memory loss there? And Sol saw it too. He saw the bodies, yet he still says to her face, the whole place, they died in the fire.
Yeah, well, I think that
they clearly did not die in a fire.
The room was on fire. There was not no fire. Yeah, they visually, in showing it to us, they made it perfectly clear to the audience that they did not die to the fire.
And if it's clear to us, then it was clear to him.
And Sol's, yeah, and I think in the first 2 episodes, Sol is very hesitant when he says, "Oh, she died in a fire."
They're hiding
tone
something.
of voice knows that.
And we know they're all in collusion here.
It's not. I don't think it's collusion. And that's what I'm saying. I think it's unexplainable, and they can't explain it. And I think that he really can't explain it because they probably didn't keep him totally in the loop. Versus Torben is willing to literally take a potion and kill himself because he knows that probably the Jedi did do something that Sol never knew about. And it could be related to the generator. But even that probably didn't kill him. They could go the route where they did do something and it did kill them, and the Sith aren't directly involved at all necessarily, and they just played scoop up after May came out, and they were like, oh, we'll just take May. Thanks, Jedi, for killing all the witches for us. That it could go that way,
and May
too.
was conveniently the one who actually completed the ritual and received her tattoo, her markings, and probably absorbed, whatever those powers and responsibilities were. Quick pause. Yes. Charlie, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend.
Charlie.
Before we get too far away, allow me to put a smile on both your faces. Like I said, Pat Cat is a mix with a Hobbit, and Ewan McGregor stunt double right here. Brilliant scientist. Keep on rocking away on videos. Thank you, Charlie. Keep on rocking away in that comment section. Thank you for all the work that you do to help keep it clean. Yes. And apologies in advance going forward.
Too kind, sir. Too kind.
Since I especially have yet to post my episode 3 reaction, and I can only imagine what is going to happen to that. But thank you in advance.
Well,
Shout out.
Think about everybody. The majority of the audience here seems to be on board. And all the viewers who are going to watch the reactions and not comment anything because they know they're just going to get berated, but are going to watch the reaction and enjoy your thoughts. So you just got to think about the silent audience who is going to watch for the enjoyment of the show, not to watch to roast you for your thoughts on the show.
Epic Dude says Master Sol clearly cares deeply about those who are around him. The Jedi couldn't have started that fire. This is why I'm so curious and confused, and I'm just, something is missing, something's not there. To all of your point, yes, that's very fair. Sol is like, why would May be doing this, versus Torben, the second he comes face to face with May, will eliminately take himself out and do her job for her. They must have been privy to different things, because to be fair, for all we know, Sol could have been in there only looking for the girls, not a member of whatever the other Jedi were doing at the time, or perhaps they were tampering with the centrifuge, the electricity, or whatever, that some big blast, or like you said, perhaps it was a force blast.
Centrifuge is the thing that spins in a circle.
Whatever. It was
generator
centrifugal shaped. It was anyway.
Well, yeah, and we know that Kalnaka is presumably in retirement on wherever he's at. So if he decided to go into retirement after this, and Torben decides to put himself in a trance because they think that they are responsible for the death of all these witches.
True, and Soul's still just living his life.
Yeah.
So maybe Soul is just absolved of all of this.
Yeah.
You know, I kept fixating on that, but that's why I'm just so caught up on. He saw it with his own eyes. He knows for a fact that all those women didn't die in the blaze.
I think that what they're setting up in the first 2 episodes is that he, in his mind, knows that
something
the fire
else happened, but just doesn't know for sure.
But he can't put it together, and he doesn't know what. And he's very, his tone of voice is very intentional with, he's hesitant, and one, he doesn't believe May is alive because he saw her literally fall down the hole. But then if she's alive, then I think he starts to think, okay, well, this even backs up my theory that it couldn't have been that fire that actually killed them. It doesn't make any sense. If May survived, she would have needed help to survive. And if someone helped her survive, they probably must be responsible for what had happened, which is why one of the first things Soul says to May in episode 2 is literally, who is your master? Who is training you? And I think all this stuff is in the back of his head saying,
as well.
This person, whoever is training you, and the reason you're alive, has to be related to what actually happened. However many years ago that was, because I think it's set up that Soul knows it was not the fire, but there was no other explanation at the time. And all the other Jedi he was with, one's in retirement, one puts himself in a trance, all this stuff. I think, those Jedi are not being fully truthful. But I think the real truth is not that the Jedi actually killed him.
You've had a week to think about this. I've only had like 5 hours.
That's true. Yep.
Julian says, I think it's time for a movie of Darth Revan or a TV series. I did see that. Well, first, thank you, Julian, for the super chat. I did see that Leslie Headland made comments about wanting to dabble in Old Republic content, perhaps. So who knows? That could be in store. It's just a shame here. You know, the reception to this show. I hope it doesn't come across or is interpreted as, oh, people don't like when Star Wars ventures beyond the canon as we know it. Like, because I wouldn't want them to be deterred from exploring even further in the past. Old Republic, stuff like that. So we'll see. Dave, thank you for the super chat, my friend. As fans since 1977 when I was 8, I am sorry, and I respect the fans enjoying it. Ahsoka and Obi-Wan was better. I read all the books. Acolyte's not for me. That's totally fine. Listen, not every show is going to be for everyone. That's why it's like, I think we are finally reaching a point where I had hoped we would get, which is like people will just watch what they want. With new Star Wars, it's clearly just a juggernaut pumping out content now, like, which I'm grateful for. I'm just happy with I'm not happy with, well, no, that's not a lie. Like, I'm happy with any Star Wars that we get. I'd rather have something than nothing. No. So I'm watching everything regardless, because that's just how I feel. Because I feel like it could all be a fever dream, and we wake up and suddenly you could wake up any day and it could be like Disney Plus doesn't exist anymore or is being dissolved, and Star Wars is now back on the market as an IP, and who knows who could take it or what could, if there would ever be content ever again. So that's why I'm living it up now. But it's totally fair, and I hope people do start to just more gravitate towards what they like, and that's what Star Wars should be.
Yeah.
Dave, member for 16 months. Now it's Moff Tom, Kat, and everyone. I respect and admire all of you very much. We respect and admire you, Dave. Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much for both the super chat and for these comments here. Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dave. You guys are all too kind. But I mean, to Dave's point, it's yes, there are the complaints about the show, but this is also a very unique show in terms of like its plot and its story. Like, this is a investigative kind of murder mystery, kind of just like putting the pieces together. Like, the audience is basically a detective trying to put all the pieces together to figure out what's going to happen. So we're getting a bunch of different perspectives from different characters of basically what could have happened and where we're going to go. So it's very different kind of setup from any of the other Star Wars shows, or really anything else in Star Wars that we've gotten to this point. Like everything else is kind of usually like kind of linear in terms of progression, in terms of like chronologically. Okay, here's the beginning, here's the thing that starts off the conflict, and then the characters go on their way to resolve the conflict. Versus this is like totally
Conflict's
unraveling
growing.
of the past, and we're getting the pieces out of order, jumping back and forth. Ultimately, presumably the conflict resolution is going to be, eventually we're going to discover here's what happens, and then there's going to be the attempt to resolve the real conflict, which presumably has to be the Sith. Which, like everything that Leslie Headland has said, is the whole reason the show exists is because of her fascination with the Sith and wanted to explore the Sith and the dark side and tap into that and learn kind of how they rose back to power. So it's a very big step away from what the traditional Disney Plus Star Wars show plot lines have been. So if that's not your thing, and it's the show's not hitting it for you because it's like different structurally, I think that makes total sense. Which, Dave, that's not exactly what you said in your comment, but Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, for example, are very much kind of linear story. Like the opening episode of Obi-Wan, I mean, it starts off with, okay, yeah, Obi-Wan's on Tatooine, isolated, but then Leia is kidnapped. So then now it's basically the whole story of Obi-Wan is how does Leia get back from being kidnapped? And Obi-Wan is there, and Darth Vader is there,
and one other path's gonna cross.
That's the linear plot line that drives the Obi-Wan show, is Leia getting captured and him needing to be returned back to, or Leia needing to be returned back to Alderaan. And then same with Ahsoka. I mean, the show opens up with, Sabine getting stabbed,
True.
and then, Morgan Elsbeth getting freed from prison. But the whole plot line of Ahsoka is, Thrawn's return. And so we start with the idea of Thrawn actually returning, and then it ends with Thrawn going back to the main galaxy. So for Ahsoka, it's kind of Thrawn's resurgence is the main plot line. Ahsoka's along for the ride. Anakin's along for the ride. Obi-Wan, it's Leia getting rescued, which is, and then Obi-Wan's along for the ride. Anakin's along for the ride. And both those shows are fantastic. I mean, you and I both love both of those shows. Versus this one is not that structure at all.
Very different format.
Very different.
I love this comment from Austin here, and I didn't think we'd honestly get a comment like this at all throughout the entirety of this show. I've been on the fence about even starting this show, and finding y'all's video has gotten me open to watching it. So I would say keep the content up. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And thank you for being willing to share that, because I've gotten more, comments leaning, of course. And the comments are, of course, just from trolls, people, bots, not, I don't take them seriously.
I mean, it's not all that, but I feel bad for anybody who's just going to dismiss watching the show and not even give it a chance.
We have comments from people who think that our us actually liking the show can't physically be real. It can't be real because we must be paid. Like, I have people who genuinely comment thinking that the only reason we could possibly like this show is because we're being paid, which, in case it's not made clear to you guys, like, I did have some accusations that Tom and I were sent by Disney, because I wasn't thinking about this when we posted the video, but someone commented, you totally got sent by Disney to go there. You were sitting in the reserved seats, which I forgot. Yes, we were sitting next to, some seats were reserved, like in our theater that we went to. We happened to be sitting next to them. They stayed open. A lot of them stayed open. They saved a lot of reserved seats. We were not in reserved seats.
I mean, that's all just conspiracy theories that people are coming up with to justify how we could be talking positively about the show.
Made clear, which I hope you guys would know. I would always be honest and upfront with you guys and disclose, but that's not the case. We're not. These are our free thoughts. But some people just can't conceive that someone would have a free, positive thought about this show.
Yeah, which is crazy, because like you and I both don't have really anything negative at all to say about the show. Which generally, particularly me, for every show, every time we talk about an episode or something, there's always a
something.
nitpick or something that generally I will say.
Danny! Friend?
Danny!
Holy shnikes, holy smokes. Thank you so freaking much, my friend, for the very extremely generous super chat. My goodness gracious. Hope everyone's well. I'm enjoying the show so far. I know a lot of people aren't into it, but instead of focusing on how it relates canonically, I like to look at what each element represents within its own context. But that's just me, lol. No, that is honestly very fair, which I think is a challenge that writers have for face now with Star Wars. How is this going to affect the canon? The more Star Wars grows, the more it becomes critical and crucial that everything you're adding is abiding by that. But there's so much to abide by and respect by now, which it creates this kind of, and that's the problem with things releasing episodically, which is what you always preach. Like, I don't know if the episodic format is going to long term be the best for the Star Wars Disney Plus shows, especially because, like I was saying, it's only episode 3. We don't get all the answers up front with this show in particular. It's like people, it's easy to then, especially as Star Wars fans, we like to theorize and come up with our own predictions and try to make conclusions and answers. And Tom just had a whole theory for how the rest of the show is going to play out. Like, that's just how we naturally are as Star Wars fans. Our brains run wild and we just have ideas. Because we have to wait a week before getting our answers versus, I think things would be so different if shows were released like Netflix style all at once. You can get all your answers in the way that they're meant to be presented as a whole conclusive piece, the whole story.
Yep.
I think it would eliminate a lot of, the wiggle room for people to then take things and run with them when we only have received just a little dose of what the true full story is.
Well, I think, Danny, to your point, like kind of what we've been talking about, if you think about where this is likely going to take it canonically, is that the Sith learn the power to create life, as Sheev would say in the Senate chamber. If the Sith learn how this power from these witches, who then all get literally eliminated and brought to extinction. They made it clear that these are the only ones left, they're all dead. If the Sith wiped out an entire race to take power for themselves, and that power is the power to create life, I mean, that's a total Sith explanation for how Plagueis would eventually learn how to create life, is because that they did it at the expense of other people's lives in a brutal fashion that tore family apart. And then they lie to the one daughter and turn her against the Jedi to weaponize her. Like, everything about this just screams Sith architecture for taking power for themselves. So I think, Danny, to your point, canonically, like, it seems like to me that's what they're setting up. If that rubs you the wrong way, and not just you, Danny, obviously, but anybody watching, like, yeah, to your point, if we got the whole story at once, that's where they take it. You review that and you're like, well, that doesn't really hit for me. I don't really like it. I wish Plagueis just learned how to do it himself as a scholar, which I think is kind of what is implied.
As a studious man.
Yeah, a studious learner of the dark side, through research, learns how to use the Force to create life, which I think is the way that Palpatine kind of recites it to Anakin. Of course he's not going to tell Anakin that Plagueis just went and slaughtered a bunch of people. And maybe Palpatine doesn't even know. We don't know. And maybe it probably wasn't even Plagueis that did it. We also don't know.
I wouldn't blame him for just taking credit for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Plagueis might have just said, like, yeah, I know how to create life out of the Force.
I came up with it.
Look at this. He doesn't need to share that he slaughtered a whole race of Force-sensitive people to take power for himself or his apprentice or his apprentice's apprentice, whoever this was. I think because it's the power, I think Plagueis has to be directly involved. I think if it would kind of be a stretch for me if, like, Plagueis is like 2 times, 3 times removed from the situation, and like one Sith learns about the power, but then it gets transferred down to Plagueis. Like, I think Plagueis really needs to be the first person involved here with actually learning how to use this power from the witches. I would think that's kind of my. But
y'all are firing off faster than we can keep up with the super chats here. Dave, thank you so much. The trolls need to be Order 66, or as Charlie calls it, Infinity Snap, whenever he has to
Thanos snapped.
work some magic in the comments.
Yeah.
T-Money, thank you so much. Where's Zach and Alex? Are they safe? Are they all right? I can confirm both Zach and Alex are well. I actually spoke with them today to hear their thoughts about the episode after I was finally able to watch it. I'm not sure. I think Alex has been very busy, had a lot on his plate, so I think that's why we've halted Evil Ewok for a little bit. But perhaps maybe towards the end of the season, I can't say anything for sure. Perhaps we'll get it up and running again to discuss this show and House of the Dragon. I know both Alex and Zach are huge fans of that franchise as well, so perhaps we'll pivot to discuss some of that show as well. But I can confirm, as of today, that they are both doing well. Yep. And Julian, thank you so much. For all those trolls, Tom Gunn are not paid to bull crap or sent from Disney. This is a community of real Star Wars fans. Thank you so much. That gave me a good chuckle. Thank you, because
yes, there is no Disney sponsorship whatsoever.
And I hope you guys, anyone who knows us, knows that we would fully disclose if that ever even were, but if that were to ever be the case, you guys know, we would, our thoughts are unpaid. These are free. We'll tell you for free that we like Star Wars and you don't have to pay me to say it.
Or that we have problems with it.
That's true too.
If there was genuine concerns, this whole stream would be talking about the concerns and the thing we don't like and all that stuff. Like, we've had plenty of other streams where we're talking about things that we didn't like about whatever Star Wars project is there.
Yeah.
But in this case,
well, there's still so much left in the story, so much mystery, so many places for this to still go. And holy shnikes, that hour freaking flew by. We had so much to discuss. I forgot here. This is the fun part about doing it, right before the episodes drop on Tuesday evenings.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
We only have 3 minutes, but then it's like, oh my god, we only have 3 minutes left. The time flies because we're just confined to the hour. But holy shnikes, this was a good chat. Yeah. Stay tuned for my a full reaction, folks. I think everything I say in my commentary still kind of stands. God tier stream, thank you.
The Rotat.
You guys are coming out.
You're a god tier human being.
Any fear I might have had about talking about this show, you guys have absolutely just squandered it. Thank you, my friends. I'm so excited. I've seen some good reviews about what tonight's episode should be in store, and it's the halfway point, right? Or no, are there 12 episodes in this show?
That's a good question.
Are there 12?
I don't know.
I should know this.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I can't confirm. I was gonna say usually the 8 episodes here. This would be our halfway point, but I think there might actually be 12 with this one. We can confirm. We have Google.
8 episodes, so we're halfway.
Shoot, this is the halfway point.
2 minutes, we're halfway.
Oh my god. Gosh, the 8 episodes. It just goes by so fast. But there's still so much in store. I'm hoping tonight we see the masked figure again.
We have to. We totally have to. Yeah. Because if it's gonna go where
can that be our poll? Because I know you're gonna do a poll. Poll.
I was just gonna say if you like it or not. In general, but this is good. Yeah.
Masked figure with teeth. Yes or no? Poll positions.
While people read in the chat, Alice, that was a very nice comment of you. Kat, Grandma, Tom are authentic, beautiful soul people who wouldn't go down the wrong road.
You're gonna make me cry. This is why you're my queen, girl. Alice, this is why you're the queen. Yes. Thank you so much for the kind words.
Yes, it's very sweet of you.
May reminds me of Ventress. She's got a little bit of, she's seeing her as a kid. She's definitely has more, no, do not end poll. In case that it's still glitching out like it does sometimes, poll question was, will we see the masked figure with teeth tonight? Most of you guys are saying yes. I want to hear them speak again.
Yeah,
I
love
loved
the red lightsaber Sith person in the
Yes.
trailer and the one that we saw at the end of episode 1.
And the
That's
clock
really
has
fun.
struck 6 p.m/9 p.m. Eastern / whatever time it may be for you in the UK. If you're still awake, I think
And
for those
Australia.
of you, and Australia.
In Australia,
If it's tomorrow for you
we've
guys,
got more Australian folks in here than...
yes. So we understand if y'all have to dip off, we will of course conclude this very shortly. Again, gosh, it flies by, but y'all know we have to end with a poll as always in typical fashion. Just totally forgot and saved it for the last 2 minutes. But if you are departing, hope you guys enjoy the episode. I will see you guys briefly in my episode 3 reaction, which will come out hopefully tonight. And then I might try to rally and speed edit my episode 4 reaction to release that later this evening as well, or soonest maybe tomorrow morning, perhaps. Need to catch up, so I'm jumping off. Have fun, and guys, I have found your video. Austin, we're so grateful that you found it. Thank you so much.
Shout out to you
for being here. I really appreciate it. I was going into all this stuff. I've been worried that, because so many people have just been seeking out Acolyte videos to bash them or accuse us of being shills or paid or whatnot. So I was worried it was going to be a lot of that energy tonight, especially hearing all week that this was a controversial episode and that the internet, the fandom was going crazy on the Twitterverse. So you guys brought the complete opposite of energy of what I was fearing. So thank you guys. Again, regardless of how you guys feel about this show, everyone treats each other with respect here. And that's all I can ask. And I'm grateful. So grateful. All right. Everyone's in favor of seeing Masked Man tonight.
There we go.
I hope so. Let's manifest it.
Masked person. Do we think it is the Zabrak mother? Is she the actual...
That's too
master
soon to
here?
tell.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of them setting it up to think that, oh yeah, it might be her. But then, like, if she sneaks out and survives and then brings May to them, the masked person, and then the masked person just kills the mother to wipe out all remnants of the witches and say, like, oh, we have what we need, and then kills her. I don't know. That could be a cooler twist. But I don't know. If the masked person is the mother, and then May realizes that it is, she's like, oh my god, it's you killed your own kind, yada yada, that would just give more hatred against the Sith, and really drive May back to Osha and the Jedi and the light and all this stuff. So I don't know.
We'll see.
We shall see.
Nick Gundy, what's up? I can't hear. I'm late, but I'm sticking around for the Masked Guy. Let's hope we see Masked Guy tonight, folks. The dark side has never been stronger. Yes, Lord Val, I can taste it. I feel it in the air tonight. It's out on Disney Plus, y'all. Go check it out. Acolyte episode 4. We are about to do the same. I will see you guys in my reactions. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you guys have been off to a great start this week. Can't wait to see y'all in my reactions for episodes 3 and 4. Apologies that 3 is very delayed, but I will catch you guys in both of those. Thank you so much for bringing the energy, bringing the hype as we pregame this evening on Dork Discourse. We'll catch you guys again, same time, same place next week. But until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, morning, evening, 3 a.m., wherever you may be. And we will catch you guys again very, very, very soon.
Enjoy the episode.
So
We shall
excited.
discuss more next week.
Bye,
Talk to y'all later.
friends.